You're at a social gathering, perhaps a wedding or a long-awaited birthday party. The room is filled with laughter, the music is decent, and the people are genuinely kind. But after an hour, you find yourself retreating to a quiet hallway or a balcony, staring at the skyline. And instead of feeling lonely or socially anxious, you feel a profound sense of relief. You realize that the most interesting person in the room, for you, is currently standing alone in the dark. This isn't another video about how to cure introversion or why you should force yourself to be a social butterfly. Instead, we're going to look at the clinical and neurological reality of the truly autosufficient mind. We will explore why your preference for solitude is a sign of high psychological integration rather than a deficit. Imagine two people in a crowd. One feels energized by the noise, the other feels bombarded. This is reward sensitivity theory. If you love being alone, your brain processes dopamine differently. Your system is calibrated to a much finer frequency. You find more cognitive fuel in a single deep thought than in 10 superficial, empty conversations. You aren't bored when alone because your internal stimulation threshold is met by your own consciousness. Carl Jung suggested that the goal of a human is individuation. For you, solitude is the laboratory where this happens. You are performing the heavy lifting of the psyche, organizing memories and forming a cohesive, solid I. Without these periods of isolation, you feel fragmented, as if the world is pulling pieces of your identity away. It feels like the world is stretching your identity into pieces before they've had a chance to set properly. This relates to the need for cognition. People who enjoy solitude naturally seek out situations that require effortful thinking. Your brain enters the default mode network in silence. It requires clean air to make nonlinear connections. External voices are just noise that disrupts the delicate process of your internal creative incubation. You aren't hiding from the world. You are actively seeking the necessary space for true creation. You possess a high degree of emotional autonomy. You don't need other people to act as mirrors for your identity. You define your values in a vacuum, away from the groupthink and expectations of the collective. You don't go to people to find yourself. You go to them to share the self you've already built in private. You share the person you have so carefully cultivated within the sanctuary of your own privacy. Evolutionarily, the loner was the scout and the observer, the one who watched while others slept. They noticed the patterns the tribe missed because they were too busy talking and conforming. Being able to sit in a room alone and not feel the urge to escape your own mind is true psychological mastery. It means you have finally become a gracious and welcoming host to your own soul. Think back to the last time you were truly alone, without a phone, without noise, and without a plan. Was that silence uncomfortable for you, or did it feel like a long-awaited homecoming? If the world suddenly went quiet tomorrow, would you be terrified of the silence, or would you embrace it? Would you finally be able to hear the things you've been trying to tell yourself for years? In our culture, there's a stigma. Solitude equals maladjustment. They say if you aren't seen, you don't exist. But look closer. Evolutionarily, the loner was the scout, the one who ensured the tribe's survival by watching. You see the subtle patterns and deep connections that others miss because they are too busy talking. Your preference for being alone isn't a social phobia. It is a powerful and deliberate choice. The ability to remain in your own presence without the need for distraction is a high-level skill. It means you are a good host to yourself. You have made peace with the person in the mirror. We live in an era of constant connection, yet we've never been more disconnected from our own hearts. When was the last time you were truly alone? No devices, no noise, no external expectations. Was that moment of silence awkward, or did it feel like returning home after a long journey? There is a Japanese word, komorebi, the light that filters through the leaves of trees. It is a beauty that reveals itself only to those who have the courage to stand perfectly still. Perhaps your solitude is simply your way of finding your own personal komorebi, those profound truths that only emerge when the noise of the world finally fades away. If the world went silent tomorrow, would you be terrified, or would you finally feel at peace? Would you finally be able to hear the message you've been trying to tell yourself all along? Maybe you love being alone, not because you dislike others, but because you cherish the truth, because you've realized that you are the most reliable and fascinating companion you will ever have.